Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. This afternoon, it's Big East basketball action. Hi again, everyone. My name is Frank Daly. We've got the Providence College Friars undefeated at 11-0 as they take on Connecticut with a 9-1 mark. Both clubs undefeated in Big East play. I'll be joined by Ron Perry, and we'll have our Aver Scouting Report right after these messages from your local station. All right, let's turn it over now to Roger Baker, our public address announcer, for this afternoon's starting lineups.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hartford Civic Center and today's Big East college basketball matchup between the Friars of Providence College and the Huskies of the University of Connecticut. Now let's meet the starting lineups. At forward for Providence, a 6'5" senior from Dayton, Ohio, number 21, Cal Foster. At forward for Connecticut, a 6'6" sophomore from Torrington, Connecticut, number 20, Maury Williams. At forward for Providence, a 6'3" senior from Worcester, Massachusetts, number 22, Matt Palazzi. At forward for Connecticut, a 6'5" senior from Seabrook, Maryland, number 33, Woody McLeod. At center for Providence, a 6'10" junior from Bronxville, New York, number 30, Marty Conlon. At center for Connecticut, a 6'11" senior from Buffalo, New York, 00, Cliff Robinson. At guard for Providence, a 6' junior from Brooklyn, New York, number 11, Carlton Screen. At guard for Connecticut, a 6'5" junior from Newark, New Jersey, number 32, Tate George. At guard for Providence, a 6'2" sophomore from Bridgewater, New Jersey, number 14, Eric Murdoch.
Let's go, man. Let's go, Jack. Let's go.
At guard for Connecticut, a 6'4" senior from Washington, D.C., number 25, Phil Gamble. Introducing the head coaches for Providence College, Rick Barnes, and for Connecticut in his third year at Storrs, Jim Calhoun.
And there are the officials for this afternoon's game. Gene Monge, David Day, and John Bodner. We'll be back with our opening tip right after these messages from your local stations. Frank Daly alongside Ron Perry here at the Civic Center in Hartford. For Connecticut, it's Robinson, McLeod, Williams, Tate, and Gamble. And for Providence, Conlon, Foster, Screen, Murdoch, and Palazzi. Big East action underway, and the Friars will have the first run up into the front courts.
So important to get possession that first time, and a lot of teams will go to the back tap, as Providence did right there to get control.
Carlton Screen off to Murdoch to look into Conlon. Palazzi can't control. Connecticut into the front court. That's Tate George, the big guard for Connecticut. Over to Williams. He was the hero the other night as he scored the basket at the buzzer to beat Villanova.
Coast to coast on that one, Frank. Look at Providence opening in a very tight man-to-man D. Good pass.
And the rebound is followed up by Robinson. He's averaging 19.6 per ball game. Quickly, PC down the other end. Murdoch won't go. And the Huskies are running. Gamble out on the wing. Got by Conlon. Missed the shot. Robinson offensive board in the lane. And that foul will go against Murdoch.
Well, it's up-tempo basketball to start this off. The adrenaline is flowing. Providence unable to get the easy one to drop down, and that's going to concern Rick Barnes. It's been a turnover and a blown layup by Providence, and Tate George has done a good job to push the ball for Connecticut, so they will run if they have an opportunity. What a sky rebound by Cliff Robinson. He went way up for that one.
Not a real good free throw shooter. There's a little evidence right there. Shooting about 67%, but he's averaging 19.6 points per ball game. He's the 6'11" senior out of Buffalo, New York. Made one of two. So we got a 3-0 ball game. Connecticut. Here's Robinson on the steal. And the Huskies come back. Let's check the defense, Ron Perry, for Providence.
Tight man-to-man defense, and Connecticut surprisingly given Providence a taste of their own medicine with the press and coming up with a steal.
The pass by George intended for Gamble. Connecticut will have the ball. Opening 2 minutes of play at the Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. McLeod stuffed up, stripped away. Screen picks up the personal.
Well, we talked about Screen and Murdoch at the very beginning, and we've seen evidence of their quick hands. Murdoch fouling Cliff Robinson, and that time Carlton Screen getting a hand in on the quick shot inside. But this was Connecticut's pressure last time, and great anticipation on the back spot by Cliff Robinson, and we'll see a lot of that full court pressure by Providence.
George
today.
inbounds to Robinson, he scores. He's got all the points, 5.
Providence is playing man-to-man defense on the inbound, somewhat unusual. Most teams go zone, and that was a good screen away.
Palazzi off the wing for 3.
Matt Palazzi shooting 53% from three-point land, coming in. He can drill it.
Fast-tempoed game. This is Gamble. Too deep. Murdoch on a run against Robinson. No basket, but Robinson picks up the personal.
One of the things you have to admire is a 6'1" backcourt guy going in strong against the 6'10" center of the opposition. Cliff Robinson leads Connecticut in block shots, but Eric Murdoch is a real gritty type backcourt player. He'll go on the floor, he'll take it in hard as he did right there.
6'2" sophomore from Bridgewater, New Jersey.
Leading the team in scoring. He's also rebounding at better than 5 a clip and dishing out just under 5 assists a game. All-around player off to a great start.
And he also has 38 steals.
Is the full court pressure, 1-2-1-1. Providence puts on great initial pressure. Connecticut, I suspect, will attack if they have the advantage. Chris Smith, the very quick, outstanding freshman guard for Connecticut, we were told will not play in this game. Severely sprained ankle in the Air Force game, but he is suited, and you never know when the uniform goes on.
Foster fouls Robinson. We got a 5-5 ball game.
Jimmy Calhoun wants the goal to count, but it looks like the foul was called on the floor, and it'll be Connecticut's ball out of bounds.
2 minutes gone by first half. George swings it around to Murray Williams in the lane. Gets his own rebound, and Connecticut will reload. Gamble by himself for 3.
Well, that's now 34 games in a row that Bill Gamble is connected from three-point territory going back to last season. He can fill it up from the outside.
Providence takes a turn. Foster in with the trees. He's blocked and fouled by Robinson.
That was a good block inside. I don't know how they didn't foul Foster with the body. Referee right on the play, and watch the block right here. A lot of bodies flying, but a lot of ball, and it's out of bounds and then back in to catch the ball, so good call as it stays Providence possession.
All right, this is Carlton Screen, one of the Providence guards, guarded by Tate George. Mismatch in size there, but Screen has tremendous quickness.
He really does, so George has to play off him a little bit. Connecticut also in a man-to-man defense. They have a very tall lineup, makes it difficult for the opposition to shoot the ball, and they're holding people just under 40% on the season.
Connecticut leading by 3. Conlon moves in. Good look. Nobody could get control. Gamble comes up with it for the Huskies to George.
That's what the tall lineup can do. You can block those chest passes, and that's what happened there. Conlon with a good look. Needed to throw the ball, though, with maybe a little jump pass.
Back door, it's Gamble. Inside left-hander. Good.
Now, Tate George and Connecticut are going right at Providence in this game. It's up and down basketball the way Providence likes it.
Palazzi, that's a 2 from deep in the corner. He has 5, averaging 14.9. 10-7, Connecticut by 3, and it's a semi-track meet.
Sure is. Palazzi, once he gets off and running, he is an excellent street shooter, a fine shooter for Providence. He could have himself a fine game, capable of scoring 20.
Robinson moves to the baseline. Had nobody to go to. Palazzi saves, and the Friars on the run. Murdoch against George. Didn't get the roll. Providence will retain possession.
Great hustle play by Palazzi to keep that alive. Jimmy Calhoun says, hey, maybe that was a charge inside on Eric Murdoch, but no call, and it'll stay Providence way. Both teams going at each other. I think the tempo favors Providence, but Connecticut not bashful at all about attacking. They've had some advantages, and they've gone right at it.
Foster out of the game. Sharp Shadim in for PC. This is Marty Conlon. Shamsuddin. McLeod was in his face. Basket is good. And a chance for a three-point play.
Tate George really denied Carlton's screen. Screen is the playmaker. But Conlon can come out and pass the ball very well from a big man, particularly from the foul line where he can see over people. We saw a pass deflected moments ago by Conlon. That time he went to the bounce pass, high percentage. Shamsuddin contributing off the bench.
Abdul ties it up. We've got a timeout here at the Civic Center in Hartford with the score Connecticut 10, Providence College 10. We'll be back after these messages. And the turnovers just about even. George now for Connecticut. The look to McLeod, nothing doing. Screen up on George outside.
Jim Calhoun felt that Providence's half-court defense was probably more worrisome than their full-court pressure coming into this one.
Another offensive board for Connecticut. Gamble with the trees, blocked by Shamsuddin. And it'll be a Friar ball.
I think the reason Calhoun felt that way is the exceptional quickness of the backcourt people. Screen and Murdoch getting up on his guards. Tate George has to assume a lot of that responsibility in this game. And Chris Smith, again, with that severely sprained ankle from the Air Force game, is suited, but we don't expect to see him today.
Palazzi under pressure from Williams. Screen. The look into Conlon. He's double back to screen. He's open. Screen's first two, averaging 10.2 a ball game.
Good look out by Marty Conlon. The three Providence players just got too tight on that one. You have to hit a couple of outside jumpers to try to loosen up that defense.
So Providence leading by a deuce. 5 minutes gone by first half.
But great pressure on the ball by Carlton Screen. Tate George needs to get some penetration out of this offense to loosen things up and get it inside if they can to Cliff Robinson. There it is.
McLeod.
That's great penetration by Tate George. One of the reasons why he's a key, he sets people up.
Shamsuddin is met by Gamble. Chance for a three-point play.
Providence will come right back at you, though. They like to push the ball up even after made goals, and this is Shamsuddin. Could be his second three-point attempt and made attempt coming off the bench. Good contribution.
All right, into the ball game now is Wright for Providence. Palazzi sits down. Tall lefty Abdul makes it a three-point play.
Connecticut doing an excellent job attacking the Providence pressure to the middle, and when they have the advantage, they're going right at it.
All right, Gwynn works with George in the backcourt for UConn. Williams kicks it back out on the periphery to George. When he gets 7 or more assists, usually Connecticut will win a ball game. Gwynn had a nice game. He's in the game now. He had a nice game against Villanova. Robinson might have rushed his shot. Offensive board taken away by Conlon. Great defensive play by Marty. The alley-oop play. Williams, great save!
Oh, what an effort. Lyman Depriest got back and deflected that out of nowhere. Great hustle.
Look at those quick hands by Screen. Williams. Gwynn, double. Murdoch all over him.
Gwynn really dribbled into trouble that time. Good swing of the ball by Connecticut. The shot was there, but ultimately a foul on the trap by Shamsuddin.
Providence leads by 3, 15-12. Frank Daly with Ron Perry at the Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut, who's a look on at Coach Rick Barnes.
He's off to the best start ever as a coach at PC with the 11 quick wins. And he's really got a very close-knit group. He's molded them together, so early on, things couldn't have gone better for the Friars.
And the players really like and, more importantly, respect their first-year coach. Gwynn, a push off the baseline. Gwynn's going to go to the line.
It's like Shamsuddin with another quick personal foul. That'll be number 2. John Gwynn is the first player from DeMatha High School in the Washington, D.C. area to enroll and play at a Big East school. They're a perennial high school powerhouse, and he can fill it up off the bench, averaging just 11 minutes a game, but he's averaging better than 6 points a game. So that's pretty good production in limited minutes.
Sellers comes into the game for Connecticut, and Williams leaves.
And again, I think we're seeing more of Gwynn today. with the absence of Chris Smith, more a ball handler and a penetrator, Gwynn the shooter.
Not a good free throw shooter.
I think the more he goes to the line, that 57% will go way up because he's got the touch.
So he's got a couple of free throws. Providence still leading now by 1, 15-14. Screen out on the perimeter guarded by Gwynn. Gwynn is a good defensive player.
Pace is settling down a little bit, I think more to the liking of UConn.
Yeah.
They are very good in the half-court game, although they've been struggling shooting the ball, shooting just 45% coming in. Shooting another key in this game.
Conlon against Robinson. Foul will go against.
Looks like Rod Sellers.
Yeah.
He could have picked a couple of people, but Sellers, I think, bodied up right there.
Fourth team foul on Connecticut. Providence has 5 at this juncture. Conlon straight on.
Well, both teams are shooting the ball pretty well in this game. Coming out and sticking it. A lot of times the adrenaline flows early and a lot of the shots go long and you see a lot of long rebounds.
Friars by 3. Depriest into the game now for Connecticut.
Connecticut is doing a good job against the Providence pressure. But I think more than anything for Providence, that press gets these players into the flow for an up-tempo game. But Connecticut not giving it away easy, although that's a successful press even when you turn it over in your offensive end, and that's what Connecticut does.
Depriest turned it over. And the Friars will come back.
A lot of people think you have to get a quick turnover in basket, but if the press works all the way at the other team's offensive end, it's still effective.
Right now, Providence shooting 60%. Connecticut at just 39%. They're really having a problem shooting from the field, Connecticut. They have been successful mainly because they have allowed not that many points. They have had good defense.
That's right. They've played the great defense, but Providence shooting it well early in this one. Connecticut, though, I think can get some second and third opportunities in this game with offensive rebounding.
Foster couldn't find Conlon, but Gwynn picks up the mistake. And he lets it fly. Offensive board, Depriest. Foul. Wright will pick up the personal.
We just talked about that, and although Connecticut not shooting it that well from the perimeter, they are getting a couple of second and third opportunities. And Conlon has to do a job in there, but the next tallest player right now, Daryl Wright, and he's more of a perimeter player for Rick Barnes, and he's 6'6", 6'7".
Gamble into the game. He works with Gwynn in the Connecticut backcourt. Here's Depriest. Lyman Depriest, 6'5", sophomore out of Highland Park, Michigan. Won't give you a lot of points offensively, averaging just under 3 per ball game.
That was only his 6th free throw of the year. He came in at 3 for 5, so he's now 4 out of 6, making 5 out of 7. Jim Calhoun likes to use a lot of people. He's getting almost a third of his scoring on the season from his bench. So he will come at you with a lot of people, but the mainstay scoring has been the tandem of Robinson and Gamble. Check the boards out.
Look at that, but Providence is still ahead by 1 despite the mismatch in offensive rebounds.
Now that'll make up for some poor shooting if Connecticut continues to get the second and third efforts. Oh, big walk right there by Cal Foster, trying to do it just a little too quickly for Rick Barnes.
Full court pressure by the Friars, 12:09 to go. PC leading 17-16. Providence with 6 turnovers, Connecticut with 4 at this juncture. Here's Gwynn against Carlton's screen outside.
Now this is interesting right here. Gwynn taking over the point guard duties with George not on the floor. Look for Providence to really up the pressure.
Gwynn, a look to Robinson. Got it back. Conlon fouled him.
Nice penetration by Gwynn on that play, and I think Connecticut has to continue to try to find Cliff Robinson in the offensive set. You get a look at Cal Foster inside. He's 6'5", but he's got long arms, and he has got springs in his legs.
6'11" senior out of Buffalo, Cliff Robinson at the line, the All-America candidate. Most valuable player of the recently concluded Connecticut Mutual Classic here in Hartford. At the line, Robinson shooting about 67%, and PC continues to shuttle players in and out. Foster leaves.
What a talented player Cliff Robinson is. He's really has to go out and get the points and play a dominant role for the Huskies this year. And he has done it of late, averaging over 20 a game in his last 3 ball games.
Right now, Robinson with 6. We get a timeout. Providence and Connecticut all tied. We'll be back after these messages from your local stations.
I'm happy for our players because they've worked hard. They certainly deserve the start they've gotten off to, and but they know as well as I do that it's going to get tougher and tougher as the year goes on. Every team's going to continue to get better, and we've got to continue to get better as well.
What a start for Rick Barnes, the rookie coach. Palazzi from deep range, nothing.
Well, Barnes has to be happy with the start, but he's being savvy, he's being cautious, saying, I know we've got a lot of tough games ahead of us in Big East play, but I couldn't be happier to be off to see that goose egg on the right side of the column. No losses so far.
Watts. Take that. Gwynn.
Yeah, Gwynn looks quick out there, and he has penetrated a couple of times. Tate George not in the lineup as Connecticut shifts to a 1-3-1 trapping zone. Look for the Providence guards to try to split and penetrate, because you do find the corners open against this defense, but it is a tall lineup for the Huskies.
Palazzi, that's a three.
Yeah, that's what you want to do against that kind of defense, swing the basketball.
Nice work by Marty Conlon. Palazzi now is checked in with a couple of threes, so he has 8, averaging 14.9, the senior from Worcester, Massachusetts, and we have a 20-19 ball game. Friars by 1.
Palazzi now well over 50% in the year from three-point territory.
Gwynn might have forced it, but he got the basket and the foul on Sadler.
Well, Gwynn is coming up big so far in the first half of this ball game with a penetrating move, getting that ball to drop. Let's take another look at it as he goes in, penetrates, gets it to go. They're also calling him for an offensive foul on the play. They're counting that goal, but they run Gwynn up for the foul.
All right, 20-19, Providence by 1. Screen on the perimeter. Bumped away by Robinson. Turnover, Friars. Gwynn didn't know quite what to do with it. His mistake is picked up by Robinson.
Frank, they did not allow that basket. On second thought, they felt the contact took place before the release, with the replay seemed to show, so that was not a good goal by Gwynn, and he picked up the offensive foul.
Jim Calhoun very active on the Connecticut bench. Providence is leading by 1, 20-19. We're just about halfway done. First half. In the backcourt for the Friars. Carlton screen. Little weave. Screen. Nice jumper.
He has been playing very under control this year, leading the team in assists and taking high percentage shots as he did there.
Averaging 10.2 a game. Palazzi is on Williams. Gamble straight on. That's a three. Well, they're putting him up from all over the place.
Well, Phil Gamble had injuries early this year. He had broken his right wrist. He had arthroscopic knee surgery. I think he was worried about those injuries more than his shooting, and right now he seems to be feeling very good on the floor, drilling those three-pointers in this game.
22 apiece from the Civic Center in Hartford. Conlon against Robinson, running one-hander. Got it. Conlon now checks in with 4.
Pretty versatile move by the big guy for Providence.
Tate George stumbles through traffic, but he is fouled by Sadler. The freshman out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. We'll take another look at it, Ron Perry.
Tate George really trying to get off and get some penetrating going. As he slices through there, Sadler unable to get his body fully in front of Tate George and gave it the little lean action, picking up the foul.
Cyrillic's first action in a couple of games for Connecticut. He replaces Sellers. Cyrillic did not play in the Connecticut win over Villanova on Wednesday night here. All right, Tate George goes to the line. Senior, 6'5", out of Newark, New Jersey. Shooting 76% from the line. He has 47 assists coming into the ball game, and as we mentioned at the top of the show, when he's a helper, Connecticut is usually successful.
And they need to have him dish the ball, get it to people, and shoot it well. One thing to get the assist, people have to fill it up after you give it to him. George with his first 2 points of the ball game. Connecticut looks like they're back into their man-to-man set.
We have another tie, 24 apiece, 9 minutes and 1 second remaining, first half. Murdoch goes to screen, and he will start the offensive flow, started by George.
Murdoch has been quiet so far. He's leading the team in scoring.
Palazzi one-on-one against Williams. The three won't go. And Cyrillic and Sadler tangle up.
A couple of the Connecticut players crossing their arms, and that's the signal for an intentional foul as Sadler just clears out Cyrillic inside on the weak side. Matt Palazzi can't get it to drop. Sadler clearly over the back and then just pulls Cyrillic out of the way. Officials got right in there because they want to see a good, clean game. They don't want to see it get out of hand early. Jim Calhoun up, giving instructions to the Huskies.
So the 7-footer Cyrillic for Connecticut will shoot some free throws as we look on at Jim Calhoun. 24-24, Connecticut and Providence. Both teams undefeated in the Big East. Friars are 2-0. The Huskies beating Villanova Wednesday night. Cyrillic's first points. Connecticut also has another 7-footer on the club, Mark Suhr. So for the first time in history, Connecticut has had two 7-footers.
That's right. Cyrillic showing good touch from the line. Again, another kid who hasn't shot much, so his percentage will pick up as the season goes along. He gave Connecticut, and has been giving Connecticut, some quality rebounding minutes off the bench.
Marty Conlon. The look over the screen, got it.
Screen is looking very fluid. There's a lot of pressure being put on Murdoch. Screen more open so far, and he's answering the call offensively.
Ron, Connecticut has gone to the line 12 times and made 10. PC is just 4 of 4, so at least statistically that is a big difference.
A lot more penetration by Connecticut and some second efforts rebounding the basketball.
Off the baseline, Williams drops it. His first two averaging 7.5 a game. Palazzi is all by himself. The three misses. Providence will reload. Marty Conlon against Robinson. That ball will go over to Connecticut. And we've got a timeout here at the Civic Center in Hartford with the score. Connecticut 28 and Providence 26. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. All right, Ron Perry, I know you like to officiate a little bit. Let's look at that last possession and see what happened up close and personal.
I wouldn't want to be officiating out on the floor, Frank, that's for sure, especially when we get the benefit of second looks like that one when you see the ball bouncing off Big Double Zero's foot. Cliff Robinson of Connecticut. Looked like it went off Conlon's foot to the official, and the ball will go Connecticut's way. You have to just shrug that off as a player. Providence shooting extremely well, almost 60%. And teams have only been shooting 39 on the year against Connecticut. There's another one. Eric Murdoch from downtown on that one. Murdoch has 5. PC leading by 129-28. That was a three-pointer, Frank. That was beyond the line. George over Conlon, and he makes it. And George is a big guard. He can make that play. And UConn takes the lead back, Ron. 6'5", you can go in there and do some damage. Conlon tries a three, can't sneak it in. Sadler's going to reload for the Friars, under pressure inside, no. The foul is on Cyrillic. Marty Conlon has taken a few threes this year. One of Jim Calhoun's concerns coming into the game was defending the long-range shot, although I think if Conlon will take a lot of threes, he just as soon have him out there rather than under the basket. All right, Robinson has checked back in for Connecticut, and Cyrillic sits down. 30-29, Connecticut now by 1. Sadler tried to even things up that try, but he couldn't. He will get another. Sadler is out of St. Joseph's High School in Bridgeport, Connecticut, home state for this game. Same high school that Chris Watts graduated from 2 years ago. Misses 2 free throws. Williams with the rebound. And Connecticut leading by 1, 7:10 to go first half, 30-29. Screen on George. Gamble. Robinson outside. Conlon matches up with him. There's a look into Gamble. A turnaround. Won't roll for him. Kept alive. Conlon picks it up. To Murdoch. He's got Palazzi off the baseline. 12-footer is good. That's a nice shot by Matt Palazzi on the move. Good look by Murdoch, and there's a steal. Robinson bangs in the screen. Players come together. That's a second personal foul on Cliff Robinson. Officials right here are really getting in there, taking charge of the situation. There was a slight shoving match before by Marvin Sadler. Really, it was a one-way shove. A lot of intensity for this game. Teams vying for first place in the Big East, and this is the first time there's been an early steal out of the press for Providence, and there's the body foul.
6'11" against 6 feet, 6'2". But Scream's going to go to the free throw line, the personal on Robinson.
That's why when your philosophy is pressing, you stay with it. As Connecticut advantage from the line with the offensive rebounding and penetrating moves. Providence has shot the ball so well, they have not had to penetrate in and get fouled that often, but they did on Scream's last play. Frank, when you live and die with the press, you stay with it, and it's taken now till 6:43 to go in the half to see that first initial steal, but Providence eventually got it.
Carlton Scream will get another chance. Providence working with Murdoch and Screen, Palazzi, Conlon, and Marvin Sadler.
I think when you have a lot of quick athletes, as Rick Barnes does have, to get them out playing full court also utilizes their abilities to the best advantage.
All right, he drops in the second one. So we have now Screen for 7. He averages 10.2 a game. There's the steal and another basket. Excellent.
Wow, that's the pressure again. Cliff Robinson with a lazy pass. And another turnover and score.
Lyman Depriest one-on-one into the lane. Left-hander pull the trigger. Oh, big rebound in there by the freshman Sadler. See him hook that down.
Oh, can he get up?
Providence leading by 4. Screen takes it through the pressure.
Oh, that's a big foul right there. Calling it on 0-0, Cliff Robinson. Unofficially, I have that as his third personal foul.
Picking up that third foul rather early with 6:19 to go in the first half. And Robinson's going to sit down.
Not the kind of foul you want to see your big guy pick up, especially prior to intermission, because Jim Calhoun will probably have to keep him on ice on the bench so that he has him fresh with just 2 fouls to give. He's got to keep him on the bench now for the second half. We'll see if Providence can take advantage off the boards.
Willie McLeod takes Robinson's place. Screen with 8. Coming in, he had 44 steals, the junior out of Brooklyn, New York.
Well, he was the all-time high school scoring leader at Severian High School out of Brooklyn, New York. Chris Mullen had previously had that record. Did not have what you'd call a vintage Screen season last year, but he's playing very well this year.
Friars with their largest lead at 6. Screen with the personal. And we'll go back down the other way and shoot free throws. Very aggressive defensively as Screen. Quick hands. You're playing against him, you better keep your hands in your pocket.
Yeah, you better not pound the ball much around Screen and Murdoch, or you'll find your pockets picked more than you'd like to see. The other thing, Connecticut has to maintain their concentration and intensity level high against the pressure. Any letdown, and you'll find yourself turning the ball over.
The backcourt leader, Tate George, gets a free throw. We have him for 5. All right, Chris Watts comes in, and Screen will take a blow.
Chris Watts, another 3-point bomber. He's only attempted 3 two-point shots this year and made 1, so it's been over a month since he's even taken a 2-point shot.
The lead is 4 for the Friars, 36-32, 6:15 remaining. All right, Gwynn comes into the game, and Depriest sits down. So for Connecticut, we've got George and Gwynn. Also Willie McLeod and Gamble.
They've got Palazzi and Watts. They'll look to take the 3-point shot if it's there. Conlon is the inside threat right now. Sadler, he's just there to try to bang the boards.
Gamble guarding Murdoch.
This is good, intense defense right now by Connecticut. They've got a pretty tall lineup in the game with the exception of Gwynn. 3-second call on Sadler. He camped out in the lane. Past that 3-second limit.
Turnover for the Friars, and Connecticut will come back up. Gwynn under pressure. And the turnovers are almost even. Gwynn looks to do some one-on-one. Instead, he hooks it off to McLeod. Gamble, that's a 3 attempt, and he got it.
That's Gamble's 3rd 3 of the game. He's now got 11. The interesting thing on that turnover and conversion graphic we just saw, Providence is converting very well when they can get the turnover.
And another mistake by the Friars.
Possession goes to Connecticut. What great hustle down there on the floor by Gamble. as you see the possession arrow favoring Connecticut. Jimmy Calhoun right on that play. working hard.
He's on most of it.
Now Rick Barnes on the other end is also working the game very hard. Both coaches up and down the sidelines, and it's been that kind of game, a lot of exciting action.
Frank Daly with Ron Perry at the Civic Center in Hartford. Big East action here this afternoon. Most of the games in the Big East will be played tonight. This is the only afternoon affair in the conference. Gamble, a triple, missed everything. What a save by Gwynn.
And what a block by Sadler. Did he get that one with great timing?
He blocked Willie McLeod, and Connecticut will have the ball.
The crowd, you can feel the electricity here at the Hartford Civic Center. They are ready to erupt. Rick Barnes just trying to keep the poise out there amongst his players. Sadler with great timing. How much closer can it get to goaltending? But it was right out
Tate George
of Connecticut's hands, so he got it with great timing. Good action.
Gwynn came up a little bit short. Conlon was there for the board. And the foul will go against Connecticut's Williams.
And it's the one-on-one situation, so that'll send Murdoch to the line where Providence has not found themselves much this first half. Here's Jim Calhoun. What a job he's done at UConn. NIT champs last year. Really out of nowhere. They just went there, beat Ohio State in the final. He's an intense competitor.
And I think, Ron, that man, as much as anybody with the Connecticut program, has everybody in the state of Connecticut talking hoop again.
Well, they love their Huskies, and they are out to see them play and loving what they're seeing so far this year with the 9-1 slate, 1-0 in the Big East, and this is a big ball game right here.
Murdoch knocks down a couple of free throws. Providence leads by 3, 38-35. There's the full court pressure against the Huskies.
In early season, both of these teams were expected to finish middle of the pack. Providence was expected dead last, so they are surprising people early. That's a goaltend call. Let's see, Gene Monzi was on it from the outside. Sadler, I think, picked it after it had hit the glass. It is a good goal.
Give it to McLeod.
You cannot touch the ball on the continuation play. McLeod penetrated. And take a look at this shot. He picks it after it hits the glass. There's your foul, continuation. And that was off the glass on its downward flight with a chance to go. That's a good call. If it was just off the glass, nowhere near the basket, it wouldn't have been a goaltend. That had a chance to go.
Rick Barnes working the officials right now. He's probably working for the next call, Ronnie, because that was goaltending. All right, McLeod, though, will get a chance for a free throw here. So he comes out of it with 3, and he has 5. We're going to take another look at it, Ron Perry.
Here's the body foul on Murdoch. Off the glass, it looked like it had a chance to drop, and Sadler should have just left that ball alone. Anytime you hear the whistle, just leave it alone.
Screen is into the ball game, along with Murdoch in the backcourt for the Friars. Conlon is high.
Oh, this is turning into a defensive struggle. What intensity on both ends, man-to-man style.
Nothing for the Friars on that trip. 38-38 all tied. Under 4 to go first half.
That's an offensive. It looked like he jammed in there.
You call it right. It's on Willie McLeod, the senior out of Seabrook, Maryland.
So hard when the intensity level builds and you get the basketball, you want to make something happen, sometimes a little too quickly.
We're all even at 38 apiece. Less than 4 minutes to go. We'll be back after these messages. The Plymouth player of the game to be selected at the conclusion of this game and during every game televised by the Big East Conference Television Network as part of the Chrysler Corporation sponsorship of Big East basketball. All right, as you look in at Tate George there for Connecticut, it's a Providence possession. And they move it up here at the Civic Center in Hartford. Friars' 3rd Big East game. They won the first 2 overall. They're 11-0. Sadler, the freshman. Kicked away by Williams. Providence ball.
But Sadler telegraphed the ball that time. He really showed the defense that he wanted to throw a bounce pass from the top. Get the ball into the hands of Murdoch or screen and let them make the penetrating moves from the top.
What kind of defense are we looking at now, Ron Perry, by Connecticut?
Connecticut has stayed predominantly man-to-man in this first half, as has Providence. Very tight, and they only occasionally went to the 1-3-1 for a couple of minutes.
Artie Conlon couldn't handle but Palazzi got it back.
I think it's the best defense because it gets out to Providence's shooters. Just need to be careful not to allow guys like Screen to get great penetrating, and Gwynn has done a good job there. He's very quick.
Good defensive player. Palazzi's shot pulled up short. Ball turns over to Connecticut. Oh, Jim Calhoun has been very busy this afternoon. Wow, he was busy against Villanova on Wednesday night, Ron, I'll tell you.
That was a great win for the Huskies. Murray Williams, who just passed the ball coast to coast for the win.
But probably this guy handling the ball now is more important in the win than anybody. Foul is on Screen. Tate a little slow to get up. Carlton picks up his third. And I think he's going to sit down, yes.
He's got to sit down with 3:03 to go. Look for Murdoch to handle the ball a little more with Screen on the bench.
All right, so Chris Watts will take his place. And George will go to the free throw line. Out of Newark, New Jersey. Got the rattle. 7 now for George. And Connecticut takes a 1-point lead, 39-38, coming up to the 3-minute mark as we look on at Jim Calhoun.
Well, George is playing the good floor game that Jim Calhoun needed out of him in this game. Connecticut has been, for the most part, with the exception of a 2-play spurt where they turned it over deep in their end, pretty good against the Providence pressure.
So he gets a couple of free throws, and he has 8.
Here's
full
some
court pressure by Connecticut.
Yeah, Providence style, 1-2-1-1, full court pressure. Try to put it on them with Screen out of the game, but Watts and Murdoch do handle it well.
First time we've seen that kind of pressure this afternoon by Connecticut.
Connecticut showed a little three-quarter court early, a 2-2-1, and that was the first all-out pressure. Got to try to get Conlon a little bit more involved offensively inside. He's got 4 in the first half, but haven't been able to get it to him down low.
Watts is by himself. Got a foul on the rebounding action against Conlon.
Well, Chris Watts keeps his 3-point string alive, at least for attempts. He hasn't attempted a 2-pointer in over a month, although he didn't get that one to drop. Marty Conlon now has got 2 personal fouls for Rick Barnes.
And Rick Barnes continues to work the officials today.
Now, it's physical inside. There's no question about it. Jim Calhoun's made his case. Rick Barnes has. But the players are banging inside. I think the overly aggressive fouls are being called very consistently.
So Rod Sellers, a freshman out of Florence, South Carolina.
Second in the team in rebounding with just under 6 a game and started a number of games early.
He hasn't shot very many free throws this year, under 50% from the line. He is apparently, they say, the best leaper on this Connecticut team.
Now, he can get way up, and he's 6'9" to begin with. He's got an excellent basketball body.
Couple of free throws.
Not too heavy, and he's got the long legs. Underneath, it hit the basket support. Only question was it deflected? The answer is no. Very dangerous pass to throw. Rick Barnes wants to talk it over as that ball will be Connecticut's. Anytime you're under the basket, you never want to throw the ball across underneath the goal. You wanted to dump that to the right side. Too dangerous, and that'll turn it over.
So we have seen on the last 2 possessions now, Connecticut really employs some pressure.
And look where the
Providence
defense was there, shading to the right, allowing the pass into the right corner for the trap. Just not a good decision that time by Sadler. And I think this is a poised timeout right now by Rick Barnes. Screen is out of the lineup. He's the floor general. He wants to settle things down. As you see those numbers, you'd expect before the game, the way we talked anyhow, with Providence had just forced St. John's into 30 turnovers this past week, that those numbers would be reversed, and you'd probably see Connecticut with more turnovers, but they've handled the pressure pretty well.
Huskies lead at 42-38, 2:27 remaining.
Providence has never trailed at halftime so far this year, and they're at risk right here, down by 4 with 2:27 to go. And the only time they've even trailed by 5 in the second half was the game before Christmas against Holy Cross. So Providence has put a lot of people away this year. Connecticut has played in some tighter ball games, especially the one you worked this past week, Frank, the 2-point win over Villanova.
Connecticut is shooting 89%, 17 of 19, and Providence at 9 of 12 for 75%. All belongs to Connecticut, Ronnie.
From the charity stripe. Those are good numbers. Great numbers.
And on the season, Connecticut shooting just 63%.
And that's not a good number. You want to see your team at least around 70%, which is very good.
Wynn pulls up in the face of Palazzi and hits it.
How about the quickness there by Gwynn, and he can shoot the ball very well. And Connecticut again with the pressure, with Carlton's screen out of the game. Fans don't like that one.
And the foul goes against Connecticut's Sellers. I should say Murray Williams.
Murray Williams with the body. A lot of activity in that trap. Williams felt he might have been elbowed, giving the ref that signal, but he was moving a little bit as he picked up the personal.
All right, Williams comes out of the game, and Lyman Depriest comes in for UConn. Conlon, a good free throw shooter. He'll get another chance. He's only shooting 71% now coming in, but I suspect that will improve as we move along. Wow.
Those are great numbers for the Huskies, and making up for the fact that early in the game they were not shooting the ball very well from the field. As you mentioned, Frank, just low 60s for the year from the line for the Huskies.
Conlon makes 1 of 2, 44-39. Connecticut leads.
See, and on the miss, it doesn't allow Providence to get into their full court pressure, so they settle right into the man-to-man defense.
Depriest, and Marty Conlon works on him.
Connecticut has a lot of good big athletes on this team. Depriest, a good example. Murray Williams, all 6'5", 6'6", and they can operate inside.
The freshman Sellers operating inside for 2. He has 4.
Cliff Robinson's been on the bench since the 6-minute mark.
That's a 3-try for Conlon. Defensive board, Connecticut.
Providence has not been able to capitalize on Robinson's absence, as Connecticut now with a 7-point advantage.
Tate George. Murdoch works on him defensively. George looking low, nothing there. Conlon out on Depriest.
This is Connecticut's pace right here. If they don't have the break, work it around, motion offense, eventually try to penetrate, and then bang the boards.
Gwynn on the post to Sellers. Shot clock is at 11. Gwynn from downtown, a miss. Will it go? No basket.
Over the back by Depriest before he tipped the basketball. That's the key there. Made contact, then he tipped it. So that negates the fact that the ball was tipped in. And what an amazing tip in if there was not a foul here. Depriest will climb and then tip the ball. Very, very close call. And the basket is disallowed. Had he tipped it, then made contact, that basket would have been good, and then we'd be shooting the free throw.
So we look at Conlon at the free throw line for Providence. Can't get the first part of the one-and-one, and Connecticut comes back down, leading 46-39. We're at 45 seconds to go, first half. So in the latter minutes here, it's been Connecticut's game. Take your pick.
Good backdoor cut on the overplay. Providence all out gambling, and Phil Gamble made the good backdoor move and then drew the foul.
From Sadler.
Connecticut was just going to work it down if they couldn't get a high percentage one. Felt this was high percentage enough, and Sadler steps in there with the body.
Phil Gamble is a 6'4" senior out of Washington, D.C. Averaging 12.2 points per ball game coming in.
Oh,
spun in and out.
Yeah, that's what you call ringing it around the rim without getting it to drop.
He was the MVP of the NI tournament last season.
Oh, he just had a tremendous finish for Connecticut, shooting the ball so well. I think he had 25 in that final game against Ohio State. And he comes into this game the most experienced Huskies. He's logged the most minutes of any Connecticut player.
He has 11, trying to get 12, but he can't do it.
How about that heads-up play, though? Gets his own rebound, allowing Connecticut a chance to hold for the last one of this first half. Shot clock is now turned off.
30 seconds remaining in the first half. And George wants to talk things over, so he calls a timeout, and we will stay right here as we look in at Jim Calhoun, whose record coming into the game at Connecticut, 38-34.
Offense against Rick Barnes' Friar Ball Club.
Connecticut has the ball. Tate George against Wright.
anytime you try to hold for the last shot, a lot of times you come up with a turnover because you're forgetting about your offense.
There you see the time remaining in the first half. Connecticut leads by 7.
Connecticut should try to shoot it with about 5 or 6 to go so they have a chance for an offensive rebound.
Depriest, kind of stiff. Clock is at 3. In and out. So that's it. At the end of the first half of play here at the Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. It's the Huskies of Connecticut leading Providence College 46-39. We'll be back after these messages from your local stations.
More turnovers by Connecticut. Connecticut with just 10 in the first half against a lot of pressure.
And there's a turnover by Matt Palazzi, and Connecticut comes back here in the opening seconds of the second half. Nice look to Sellers.
Tate George is really playing a strong floor game for Connecticut in this one, dishing the ball off with good penetration, which we said would be key, and that was just a beautiful table setter that time to Sellers.
Huskies lead is at 48-39. Opening minute, second half of play. Screen. The guard for Providence runs George into a pick set line by Conlon. Murdoch is free. That's for 3.
Now that'll get Murdoch off the docket a little bit with his now 8th, 9th, and 10th points of the game. Nice setup on the screen and feed by Screen. Providence needs a good, strong start to this second half. They've now closed to within 6 to get this game tightened up.
Screen has run into a screen. A look inside under traffic to Gamble, and he uses the glass.
Connecticut taking a little advantage against a thinner lineup that Providence puts inside. Marty Conlon right now the tallest player at 6'9", and then it goes to Foster at 6'5".
Conlon against Sellers to Screen. That's about a 14-footer. He cans it.
Screen has shot the ball well in this game. He's now 4 for 4 from the field. Can't get any better than that.
He has 11. Friars trail by 6. Connecticut with the ball on the lead at 50-44.
Shortest player on the floor right now for Connecticut is 6'4", Phil Gamble, so they can see over people in their passing game.
Gamble is by himself, and he banks it home. Gamble's getting hot now.
Yeah, he shot the ball pretty well now. He's just under 50% from the game, but he has shot the ball well from deep. He's 3 for 4 from three-point territory.
He has 15 points. He's above his average per game. 52-44 Connecticut. What kind of defense are we looking at?
Stays man-to-man. Nice feed.
Conlon over to Palazzi.
That was a great over-the-shoulder look by Marty Conlon as he saw over the defense. He does pass the ball very well for a big man.
Matt Palazzi has 14. Connecticut works to the front court. George shut down by Conlon, pulls it back.
But Connecticut did a good job the last 6 minutes of the first half without Cliff Robinson, who picked up his 3rd foul. That could have been a time that Providence would take advantage of the Huskies, and they couldn't do it.
Connecticut ball.
Looks like Sellers went down hard on that play as he gets up slowly. Cliff Robinson just catches the front of the rim barely on this play, and the feet come out from under Sellers. He slides down and obviously in pain, but he's back up and ready. Seems to be okay.
Murdoch, personal foul. We're going to get another look around Perry at this fine pass by Marty Conlon.
Well, he shows to the high post area quite a bit, but this is just a nice, not so much over the shoulder, it's just a very quick pivot, look over the defense. That's a fine look to keep your eye on the open man.
Carlton screen gives Tate George a lot of room. Coming off a pick was Robinson around the near side. And the call goes against Connecticut's Phil Gamble. And that's his 2nd. And there's the number 2 play, called by Jim Calhoun, the coach of Connecticut.
This is the 1-3-1 defense right now by Connecticut. They only showed this briefly in the first half. Providence swung the ball like that and got a 3-pointer. They try the same thing again, but does not work for Murdoch.
Providence ball. As far as the inside scoring is concerned, Connecticut is almost beating PC at 2-1. It's 22-10 with points scored in the paint in the short baseline post-up areas.
Yeah, Providence has had a difficult time getting the ball inside and establishing a game in the paint for either Conlon or Foster. It's been mostly perimeter jump shots for the Friars.
There's a perimeter jump shot that misses by Robinson. Offensive board Sellers.
And that's an area where Connecticut hurt Providence in the first half as they had 11 offensive boards.
Running inside is Foster. He got nothing, but he did manage to make Sellers foul him. 54-46, Connecticut leads. Substitutions now. Matt Palazzi comes out of the game. Wright comes in for PC. Cyrillic checks in, and Robinson sits down for the Huskies.
That was an important play, though, as Matt Palazzi sits down for the Friars as they were able to dump it inside to try to get someone going off the blocks down there. And Cal Foster, of course, we saw him in probably his biggest game of his career, that 20-point effort early in the year in a Big East win over BC.
Foster gets 1 of 2, his first points. Back come the Huskies. 54-47, Connecticut.
This is what Tate George has done. He's run the floor very well, set people up for Connecticut. How about Cyrillic?
He stumbled and he still made the shot from the outside. His first 2 in a long time. Conlon to Wright. Powers it through the baseline.
And that's his first basket of the game. Only 6 people scored for Providence in the first game, so they do need contributions from more people. How about that steal by Murdoch, but his right foot just hit and went over the mid-court stripe as he went backcourt. Good call by the official, right on it.
Quick hands by the Providence backcourt. Let's take a...
Oh, momentum carried him right into that line and just... I guess it went just over it to call the backcourt. Very quick call, but he did just carry there with his momentum going toward midcourt.
Connecticut's lead is 7. 4 minutes gone by, second half. There's the big guy Cyrillic, who hit the last time down. He's a 7-footer.
Cal Foster on him a lot tighter after that last shot that he did hit.
A lot of traffic over in the sideline. George brings it up to the middle. Gamble, 3, no. George with a nice save off to Williams, and George will start it all over again as Connecticut reloads.
That's always a great play if you're a younger player watching this game. If you can't control a rebound, to try to just bat it out, and that was the play there, and saved it for Connecticut.
Gamble came off a screen at the foul line, but his jumper was no good. Friars back down the other way. Murdoch is fouled by Tate George.
The one thing you know with Eric Murdoch, good outlet by Daryl Wright, is that he will go to it if he gets the opportunity as George rings that one up. Looks like he got a lot of ball, but caught some hand and arm on the play.
Eric Murdoch is the 6'2" sophomore out of Bridgewater, New Jersey. And he has 10 points in the game. He has a basket here in the second half. And at the line, he's a very good free throw shooter, better than 80%, 81%.
He's played him very tough in this game, denying Eric the ball at most opportunities. He was only 1 for 4 the first half from the field.
We get a break in the action. Connecticut leading this ball game. We'll be back after these messages. There's Connecticut's lead, 56-51.
Providence trying to establish some inside play. They've been unable to post up and score, but Daryl Wright went hard to the goal with his power move, scoring 2.
But still, Ron, look at the difference inside as Connecticut's all over the Friars from in close.
Been a big difference. Marty Conlon has to establish down there. They've got to get him the ball. They've got to get Foster going. And Shamsuddin is now back in the lineup. He had a couple of three-point plays early in the game down low. So that may be what Rick Barnes has in his mind.
Robinson on the outside against Marty Conlon.
Both teams come into this game holding people down to around 40% shooting. They pride themselves in intensity in the half-court defensive set, and they've gone at each other hard this game, although Providence has shot around 50%.
George takes a shot through the lane. It's no good. Friars come back up. Right. Screen. Good look to Shamsuddin, but he couldn't hold on to it.
That's a walk Bill Gamble could not control. Jim Calhoun is saying he didn't have possession, but the ruling was with his right hand that he did have a good handle on it and continued to run and was gaining an advantage, so thus the walk.
It'll be a Providence ball.
Nice strip inside right there. Looked like Maury Williams took it away right there. You just can't hold the ball up in your right hand and run the whole court with it, gaining an advantage, so that was the walk call.
Murdoch against Gamble. Deflected wide.
Forced that one a little bit.
Here's Robinson. 2 Friars trail him. Scoops it up softly but misses. Offensive board. Gamble, yeah.
That's just good hustle. Phil Gamble up to 17 points now in the game. A good versatile move by Robinson, although he couldn't get it to drop.
Connecticut lead back to 7. 14 minutes remaining in the ball game. Conlon.
That's a good look out by Conlon. He got doubled up.
Screen hits it on the angle. And again, the players come together a little bit. Screen has 13. His average is 10.2 a ball game. And Rick Barnes getting excited at the moment.
That was good maturity by Marty Conlon. He hasn't been able to get the shot off down low, and rather than force that one, he got doubled up and kicked it back outside to the hot shooting Carlton Screen.
Connecticut goes with George and Gamble, along with Williams, Robinson, and Sellers.
That's on Conlon.
That's his 3rd. And that'll send Murray Williams to the free throw line. Sophomore out of Torrington, Connecticut. Excellent passing forward is Williams. That's Conlon's 2nd.
He was injured preseason, Murray Williams. Had a leg fracture during the preseason, and that slowed him down early, but he's really picking his game up as this season goes along.
Connecticut makes a move here as Lima Depriest comes into the game and Sellers sits down. Williams has but 3. He had 2 on Wednesday night against Villanova. He'll never forget. They won the ball game on a layup right at the buzzer.
That was actually Frank, personal foul number 2 on Marty Conlon.
Well, that's better. 7-point lead, Connecticut.
Certainly for the Friar fans, they need to keep Conlon out there banging the boards.
From way outside, Wright's 3 is no good. Getting the boards, Gamble, good rebounding guard he is. Robinson, wing jumper, offensive board again. They're getting a lot of those chances.
Good hustle out there. Look at Murdoch come up with it. That's going to be Connecticut ball. Shamsuddin had an opportunity to go after it and get it, which he went hard, but he was trying to fend off Murray Williams more than grab the ball. And he just drove right out of bounds. Look at Murdoch come up with this in the pack, have the presence of mind to then get it out of there. And Shamsuddin runs alongside. Well, he had to dive for it there to get it. And his momentum carries him right out of bounds. Good hustle by Shamsuddin. I think he might have got a little water spilling in the face to boot as he wipes himself off.
But other than that, everybody survived. 13 minutes and 11 seconds to go. There's Abdul.
Neither team afraid to go after it and hit the deck.
Connecticut ball. Tate George, 6'5", senior guard out of New Jersey, running the show here this afternoon for the Huskies.
He had 8 points and 6 assists at halftime, and he's building on that in this second half. Good floor game.
Defensive rebound, Marty Conlon. Back on the Friars. All right, defensively, what are we looking at, Ron Perry, now from the Huskies?
Stays man-to-man as they've been most of this ball game, with the exception of a little zone.
Screen drives, got nothing. Providence ball.
Screen had an advantage there. Took a pretty tough shot. About a 5 or 6 foot runner. I think he might have been able. He had the advantage to get it into the goal. As Jim Calhoun looks on, he's mixing it up. He had 10 different people score in the first half, which has been the story for the Huskies. A lot of balance. And typically you'll find Robinson and Gamble at the top of the scoring list.
Conlon, little turnaround pop, misses.
That'll go against Daryl Wright, it appears.
And number 41 there for Providence does pick up the foul.
That's indicative of what we've been talking about. Marty Conlon gets that ball in low, but ends up taking a turnaround shot from about 8 feet. Look at the differential there, as Connecticut, a lot of second and third opportunities, and they've been converting them.
And that's the difference right now. 60-53, 7-point UConn lead. George out on the perimeter near the sideline.
Somehow Providence just has to put a body on the Huskies, play the good defense, and limit them to one shot. If they keep giving second and third opportunities, you know, the Huskies will not only score, but they'll end up sending them to the foul line, where they were deadly in the first half.
Connecticut turns the ball over, and PC comes back up. Here's screen against Quinn.
Oh, nice move. That was the one he had a moment ago, but that time he got it all the way to the glass with better results.
Carlton Screen with 15. His average is 10.2 per game. 5-point lead, Connecticut. And Providence will get another chance to come back down. So the last couple of trips, nothing for UConn. And we've got a timeout. Connecticut's lead is 5. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Ron Perry, the Friars are shooting pretty good here this afternoon. Connecticut not shooting all that well as far as percentages are concerned, but yet here we have Connecticut leading by 5. How's that possible?
Well, you'd look at that and you'd wonder a little bit about it. What the shooting is doing is actually keeping Providence very close in this game, but they're getting pounded on the backboards, particularly the offensive boards, where Connecticut gets a lot of second and third chances, because the numbers certainly favor Providence. And the other thing Connecticut has done is limited turnovers to get this more into a controlled tempo game, which is much more to Connecticut's liking with the bigger lineup.
Right, feeds Murdoch, swatted away by Robinson.
Now that's what they've done. They've limited Providence to minimal scoring inside. What a great block by Robinson.
Post up pass to Robinson, didn't get there. Depriest followed, and back come the Friars. Conlon with a good defense.
But another second opportunity for Connecticut.
Yep. Most of this season, Providence has really forced the opposition into turnovers, but not so this afternoon. Right offense glides the baseline, but picks up the foul. Rick Barnes doesn't like that call one bit.
The other thing that will happen if Connecticut completely collapses inside is Providence can drill the three-point shot. I could not see the push-off by Daryl Wright. He must have, on the ruling, pushed off with his arm, but did not see it as I looked at that one.
Friars trail by 5. Coming down to almost the halfway mark of the second half.
Screen has got to pressure George a little bit more. Otherwise, Tate will just hold the ball out there and let that shot clock and game clock dwindle down as the shot clock now approaches 20 seconds.
Robinson is posting halfway up the lane. Conlon stays with him.
Although Tate George not a threat to probably shoot it from way out there, you have to pressure him just to try to get Connecticut out of their offense.
Foul line jump.
Oh, nice job.
Bang.
And look where he ends up shooting it from, Frank, right at the foul line. So, again, trying to play off him. If you're on him tighter, you know, it's going to be more difficult for him to get that shot off, although he is 6'5" over the 6-foot screen.
Wright answers down the other side for Providence. So Wright gets his second hoop of the afternoon. 10 minutes remaining in the ball game, 62-57. Connecticut.
Daryl Wright throughout his career has been a guy that has been capable of getting 18 to 20 points on any given night if he heats up shooting the basketball.
Coming into this game, the Friars had gotten some 33% of their total points off the bench. I don't think we're seeing that tonight.
Now, this has been an effort where you've had 6 people in the scoring column for the Friars and 10 people in the scoring column for Connecticut. Another difference.
Tate George has strung together a couple of good ball games. Spin move by George, nothing there. Forces the banker, won't go. Connecticut will get another chance.
But the thing that's positive for Connecticut there once again is that look where Tate George is. He's that time about 7 feet from the basket. A tough shot that he takes, but he is getting the penetration that the Huskies need.
Conlon leaves. Foster is in. Conlon has not yet scored in the second half. He has 5 points in the game.
I think what Screen has to do is once George gives it up is to not let him get the ball back, because without him handling it, you could create some havoc for the Connecticut offense. George is going to now try to post up Screen a little bit, and he pushes off in the process. I think he picks up an offensive foul. That's what it is.
Ball turns around, and the Friars will come back. George and Robinson discussing it. 9:10 remaining in the game, 62-57, Connecticut.
Matt Palazzi has been very quiet in this first half. He had a dozen at halftime. He's now got 14 points, but he's another guy that can heat up for the Friars.
Murdoch, that's a triple.
Now that's what is so exciting, I think, about college basketball. Some people talk that the three-point line might be too close, but you can make up points in a hurry with that three-point goal.
Friars only down by 2. Robinson against Shamsuddin. George wanted to give Depriest a look, couldn't do it. Stolen. Here's Murdoch. Back is Williams. Murdoch.
Oh, what a move by Murdoch, and he's able to stop on the dime after going full tilt down the court.
And we're tied up, and there's the pressure from the Friars against Connecticut. 8:27 to go, 62 apiece at the Civic Center in Hartford.
Connecticut wants to talk it over. We've got ourselves another good one here at the Civic Center in Hartford.
8:23 remaining in this ball game. Knotted up at 62. Providence and Connecticut. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. The Plymouth player of the game to be selected at the conclusion of this game and during every game televised by the Big East Conference Television Network as part of the Chrysler Corporation sponsorship of Big East basketball. Ronnie?
Well, Tate George was right where he wanted to be, didn't use the bounce pass, and how about that coast-to-coast move by Murdoch? 5 points in a row by Murdoch, a three-point bomb, and that basket has knotted things up.
62 apiece, Connecticut and Providence. The call goes against Cal Foster. All right, let's set the lineups here now for Connecticut. It's Gamble and George. Also in there, Robinson, Williams, and Gwynn. Friars go with Murdoch and screen. And they're also getting help from Shamsuddin and Wright. Little fadeaway by Robinson. It falls in. Nice soft touch. First points in the half for him.
He's been having trouble getting back into the flow since committing the third personal at the 14-minute mark of the first half. So that's a big goal for Cliff Robinson.
Murdoch, a shovel pass down at the baseline. Shamsuddin gets the roll.
Well, he's been most effective from the post in this game with 8 points now.
Gamble, back is Abdul. Shuts him down.
That's a nice decision by Gamble. Didn't have the advantage he wanted, so with his experience, he just backed it right out. Got it to George. Connecticut will work the clock, and the score of this game is more the tempo that Connecticut likes.
Foul is on Foster again, so he picks up a couple. And Providence now with 16 fouls. Connecticut, I'm sorry, 4. And the big senior, the All-American candidate out of Buffalo, Marty Conlon, comes in and Foster leaves. So we have Abdul and Conlon in the game at the same time. And the 6'11" Robinson will be at the line. He has 8 points.
Connecticut has won 6 games in a row after a disappointing loss at Purdue. And they rebounded with a great win against Virginia. Robinson had a tough game, got into foul trouble against Purdue, and then bounced back with 30 against Virginia. He's really been on a roll since.
There's Matt Palazzi into the game, and he replaces Eric Wright in that small forward position.
Wright gave some pretty good minutes out there, had a power move, got inside, but Palazzi capable of nailing a couple of shots from the outside. He's got to get back into the flow now.
Conlon against Robinson. Oh, missed everything.
There are times inside where Conlon gets himself almost into too many moves. He needs to make one good pump fake and get a strong shot off. That time he made so many moves he lost control of the ball, but again, weak side, Shamsuddin was there. That's where he tries to just force it in, loses control.
And Tate George.
Good move.
All right, Conlon there. And Tate George had picked up that previous foul. All tied at 66. Coming up to the 7-minute mark in Hartford. Huskies with the basketball.
Good effort by Conlon to just stay with that. He's keeping his composure and bounces right back with the basket.
And the Friars stay in there man-to-man. Corner of the key jumper, Williams, rattle job in and out.
Look who's there to rebound. Eric Murdoch from his guard slot. Sliding right down.
And he slides by. Gamble scooped it. No. Gamble, a good rebounder for a guard as well for Connecticut.
Plus you saw Gamble really cradle the ball. Don't want to put it down around those Providence guards.
Providence ball. Oh, look at Jim Calhoun on the far side. Is he upset at that call?
Jim showed a very quick first step getting from the coach's box to the baseline right in front of his bench with about 2 steps. But somehow that ball went out off the hands of Robinson. He thought it was deflected by Providence.
The Friars are starting to make UConn turn the ball over. Carlton screen and Murdoch in the back court. That's Gwynn up and screen.
The way both teams are attacking each other half court right now, you've got a feeling that this game could go right down to the wire as we're tied now.
Screen made an initial good move on Gwynn, got the jumper, and then a foul. Oh, there's a big league play.
Screen has not made many mistakes in this game except for picking up his third foul in the first half, if you can call that a mistake. And it was late in the first half. He's had very good shot selection. Murdoch has been played very tough in this game, and he's got a chance with that quick move for the conventional type three-point play.
Junior out of Brooklyn has 17 points.
As does Murdoch. Palazzi's got 14 for the Friars.
Can't make it a three-point play. Friars lead by a deuce, 68-66. Connecticut with the ball, and they trail, and the crowd is finally, I think, getting into this ball game, Ron Perry. They've been quiet.
Yeah, they have been. They're ready to erupt. And I think if they can get the ball to Cliff Robinson a couple of times inside, that's the guy that's the go-to man, although he loses that off his leg for the second turnover in a row by Robinson. And he's having trouble since the fouls that he picked up in the first half, getting his rhythm and timing back.
So nothing for the last three trips by Connecticut as they come up empty. And there you see the difference. Providence leading.
Oh, look at this move by Screen.
That's going to be a goaltending. Give two to Screen.
That's a big-time move out front by Screen. Just left a couple of Huskies in their tracks. And Robinson went way up, but the ball had already reached its peak on the way down when he took it away. Look at this move by Screen. Way up by Robinson, but clearly goaltending.
Back to the live action. PC right now is on a 21-10 run, and they have built themselves a 4-point lead.
Well, they've shot the ball well this entire game. What they had to do was start to board a little bit better and play better defense with a couple of turnovers. They've started to do that. There's another one.
Gamble chases Screen.
Oh, what a play there. That's going to go back to Connecticut. George able to stop that break by Screen, and then Murdoch kicked it out of bounds.
A two-handed scoop layup. All right, back come the Huskies. This is Gwynn leading the break. Pulls up.
John Gwynn, I have a feeling, is going to score a fair amount of points here at UConn. Throughout his career, he knows how to find his way to the basket.
Connecticut gets back to within two, and the crowd into it too.
Yeah, they really are picking it up now.
Murdoch paint jumper, two
Oh,
deep.
what a tip.
Chops it deep.
Chops it. Dean somehow gets his hand up and bank tips that one in, which is very difficult to do.
Another turnover, Connecticut.
And then they turn it back over. Back court. Oh, wow.
72-68 Providence. 4:38 remaining in the game, and the Husky bench is up, as are the bulk of the Providence players.
So important if you can get a turnover to try to keep your poise, despite the fact that you might have 17,000, 18,000 screaming fans, and convert it into something positive. But we just saw an exchange of mistakes there, but great hustle.
Palazzi against Gamble. Good defense by Matt Palazzi.
Things are really tightening up. It's down to that chess match stage where the team that executes better out of the half-court set win this ball game. And free throws will be very critical down the stretch as well.
Gamble launches a rocket. He got it! That's a three.
Well, not only is it a three, it's a very big basket as it draws Connecticut to within a point. I think that was a travel on Matt Palazzi as he skidded, trying to save the ball.
So here we go, Ron. 3:57 remaining in the ball game, and Connecticut now has pulled to within one. We'll be back after these local messages. Here's a look, Ron Perry, at the eventual feed out to Gamble from the guard Gwynn that got the Connecticut crowd back into this game.
That's a nice look by Gwynn, and this is 33 in a row going back to last year, where Gamble has been able to connect from that area. And not only was that a big shot, it brings Connecticut right into it.
All right, Providence now seems to be playing much better defense.
And certainly by that graphic, they've been forcing Connecticut into more turnovers in this second half.
72-71, Friars lead the Huskies.
Well, Providence with the pressure can have the good spurt, and they've had it in this second half to pull out front. And you got the feeling now it's warfare time in the half-court set to see who can pull it out.
15-footer by Gamble, no. Palazzi, rebound on the floor. Back come the Friars. Slow tempo here on this trip. We'll stay under control. Screen.
Oh, what a move again by Screen.
Curled the screen now. We've got for 21, and you know the pick was really set up high by Marty Conlon. He went real deep through the wing and through the baseline.
Well, he's played a fantastic game. It's coming down right now, particularly in a close game, to the point guard play of Screen and Tate George. Those are the two floor generals that have to get the ball to the right people if they don't have it themselves. And Providence is really collapsing on Cliff Robinson, who's been held to 10 points in this game. He's had the first half foul trouble. They'll be looking for him.
Connecticut ball, 74-71. Providence leads. 2:49 remaining. Palazzi is out of the game, and Eric Wright comes in.
When Robinson goes down low, as you see Palazzi taking a seat, he shot the ball very well in the first half. The Friars are collapsing on 0-0 Cliff Robinson, trying not to let him be the deciding player down the stretch for the Huskies.
Tate George. He was alone, but he didn't shoot. Williams against Abdul. Shamsuddin picks up the personal.
Shamsuddin has played well off the bench. Connecticut posing all sorts of trouble for Providence inside in this one, and he's provided good quality minutes, not only scoring, but providing some size inside for Providence alongside Marty Conlon.
Williams will set up at the free throw line for Connecticut. The Huskies are 9-1 overall. There's a good look at Murray, 6'6" sophomore from Connecticut.
A 70% free throw shooter, so he's had some success from the line this year. Not on that one.
Averaging about 7.5 per ball game. He averages almost 5 rebounds a game.
He's a good, versatile player. Oh, look at Robinson. He's right there, and
fouled by Abdul.
He's a key player down the stretch. You can't keep him down forever. And he went in and just was uncontested almost getting that rebound. He had great anticipation to get in there. Was not blocked out very well by Shamsuddin and came up big with the rebound.
All right, Robinson will shoot about 67% so far from the line. So these points are critical. He has 11. Senior out of Buffalo. Knocked them both down.
That was the 4th personal on Shamsuddin.
74-73. Huskies pull to within 1. 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in Hartford.
Right now, Screen and Murdoch need to handle the ball as much as possible.
Right. In and out. Defensive rebound, Robinson. Back come the Huskies. Let's watch the tempo. It'll be slow. And George will set it up. 6'5" guard for the Huskies.
Oh, big board by Conlon in traffic.
Gets it off the screen. Quickly up into the front court. Carlton feeds it off to Wright.
Providence right here wants to work the shot clock. They can't become passive with the ball. But right now, with just 1:42 to go in the game, if they can work the shot clock, keep it in Screen's hands and Murdoch's hands, and get the high percentage shot.
Conlon got by Robinson to Abdul. The left hand from the right side banked it in.
Wow, that was a tough play because Conlon and Shamsuddin were so close to each other when he passed him the ball. So to not walk with it, which was very close, and come up with the goal, big basket. Look for Connecticut now to try to find Robinson. And you've always got Gamble from the perimeter.
Williams against Wright. Get it!
Not the player I expected to come up with it, but he is starting to be the guy down in the clutch situations who does the job for Connecticut.
Chance for a 3-point play as Connecticut now gets to within 1.
Murray Williams, he's got the good size. He was fouled on the play by Daryl Wright. And he came up with the basket. What a big one for Connecticut. He'll have a chance to tie this game all up.
We got a break in the action. Only 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. Providence by 1. We'll be back after these messages. Ron Perry, minute 15 to go in this Big East battle. Providence leading here in Hartford by 1 against Connecticut, 76-75. You set the scene at the foul line. We're going to see Murray Williams, and then what?
Well, he's got a chance to tie it up if he is able to do that. Jim Calhoun was talking about getting into the man-to-man defense, putting pressure on the guards, helping out against penetration, and then getting the boards, obviously. So you're in a situation now where both teams have 2 timeouts remaining. Williams with a chance to tie, and the possession arrow favors Connecticut.
That's his 3rd free throw made, so he has 7. And yep, we're locked up at 76.
And Rick Barnes was saying if they do score, get the ball in Carlton's hands. He's running the weave here, and he wants the high percentage shot.
Palazzi with a big one, drops down. Matt Palazzi was 16.
Wow, they didn't waste any time, Frank, at all. Coming back to answer, Providence has not trailed this year with less than 7:50 to go in a game, so they were tied there, but are back on top.
By 2. George weaves his way in and gets 2.
Kate George with a beautiful penetration. Someone had to help out there and put the brakes on him. And Providence goes back to the weave offense. That was a near travel by Palazzi.
Like 2 heavyweights just slugging back and forth at one another. 32 seconds to go.
2-second differential on the shot clock versus the game clock. Look for Providence to try to shoot with about 6 to 7 seconds left and then bang the boards. They're on the road. They want to try to win it right here. Connecticut, of course, has to stop and then hold the 1 shot.
Shot clock is at 10. Screen.
Foul on the floor. I believe this will be a 1-on-1
Yep.
with Screen going to the line. Now, interesting to see if Jim Calhoun, he's got 2 timeouts left. I would venture to guess he'll call one of them here to try to ice Screen a little bit and think about it on the bench. And he may wait just a few more seconds to do that. That's a typical way to do things, and then let the shooter think about it. There he is.
All right. So, Carlton Screen, we'll have a little bit of time to think about that. Meantime, on the other side, Jim Calhoun is going to get his troops organized. 11 seconds to go here in the ball game. In regulation, are all tied up at 78.
Wow, this has just been a terrific game. Both teams have gone at each other hard. Carlton Screen with the penetration. There's the body foul before he goes up with it.
Yep.
And he'll go to the line right now for the 1-on-1 free throw. He's played a great game. He's got 21 points, and I've got him 3 for 5 from the foul line in the game. Rick Barnes right now is saying, look, fellas, after Carlton makes both of these free throws, let's get back into man-to-man defense. Let's put all kinds of pressure on the ball. Let's not let Robinson get it inside, and by all means, let's not foul. But don't play passively defensively and just let him go in for a layup the way Williams did against Villanova. Jim Calhoun, on the other hand, is saying if he misses the free throws, let's go right down with it and try to score in transition. You've got 11 seconds to go. Rather than call a timeout and let Providence set their defense, let's go right down with it. I would say if he makes the free throws, you might see Connecticut use its last timeout to try to set up.
Gamble is exhorting the crowd here in Hartford. And there's the man right now, Carlton Screen for the Friars.
Fans are on their feet, Frank. What a game Screen has played, too.
He is a 68%, making 67% free throw shooter. There's the story. Comes down to 11 seconds, all tied. Everybody standing.
What a big free throw by Screen. He's been around. He's very heady, and he did not even hear the crowd on that when he was so focused in on the goal. Well, he might have heard it a little bit, but he was very focused in. Very important now for Providence to get back defensively, to put some pressure on the ball, but not let them drive. And Connecticut, on the other hand, may try to just get it over midcourt and use their last timeout. They're going to go right at it.
Gamble
for the win.
Way outside. No good. It was a 3-try. Robinson
they can still
now.
do it.
1 second. Miss. Gamble. If it goes, it won't count.
Providence, what a big win for the Friars on the road. Connecticut went for the win instead of trying to tie this thing up with 2 3-point bombs. And look at Rick Barnes, number 12.
All right, final score here in Hartford, Connecticut. The Providence College Friars defeat Connecticut 80-78. We'll be back after these messages. Ron Perry, a couple of free throws in the final second by the very gutsy guard out of Providence College, Carlton Screen, and well, that gives them their 3rd Big East victory of the young season against no defeats.
Well, that's right. 11 seconds to go. Screen drilled both free throws, finished with 23 points for the game, and unquestionably our Plymouth player of the game with 4 assists to boot and just an all-around, terrific game from the floor, taking charge for the Friars. The Friars shot the ball well in this game, were being out rebounded badly, but had a great run in the second half on the strength of their press. And he's saying, yeah, right there, I got that one to go. The crowd was on their feet as the Friars celebrated when Connecticut could not come down and score. They took 3-point shots, Connecticut did. Screen played very well in this one.
And that is our story from the Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut, along with Ron Perry. My name is Frank Daly. Again, the final score, Providence College 80 and Connecticut 70.